Hello, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is John Bamidele. Let's bring you the headlines. And other African leaders grace inauguration of South African President Cyril Ramaphosa for second term. ECOWAS extends $2 million humanitarian food support to Nigeria. And challenges of disease management and focus as the world marks Sickle Cell Day. The fifth president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has been sworn in for his second term in office. President Bola Tinubu was one of the guests, heads of state and government, who attended the inauguration of the seventh administration of the country. State House correspondent Musbahuddin Wahab reports.
Guests, ladies and gentlemen, could we warmly welcome the President of Nigeria and current chairperson of ECOWAS, His Excellency Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Nigeria has been with South Africa since its apartheid era and still here with one of its long-standing allies. The leader of the largest African country was conspicuous on the roll call as South Africans once again returned to the union buildings where their topmost icon of democracy, Nelson Mandela, took oath of office 30 years ago to begin a democratic journey. The citizens were also joined by other heads of state and government as President Cyril Ramaphosa gets a second chance to lead the country.
So help me God. The President of the Republic of South Africa.
But beyond the inauguration of a new administration, South Africans are equally celebrating 3 decades of their democratic journey, partnership and growth. Now returning to power on the heels of a political arrangement leading to a government of national unity, President Ramaphosa says this is only necessary toward a more effective governance as he promises to heal the divisions of the past and eradicate the inequalities of the present amongst his people.
The voters of South Africa did not give any single political party the full mandate to govern our country alone. They have directed us to work together to address their plight and realize their aspirations.
The re-elected president acknowledged the voices and messages of his people through the ballot and says their will be done through greater dedication to democratic renewal for better social and economic gains.
They have also been unequivocal in expressing their disappointment and disapproval of our performance in some of the areas in which we have failed them. We have heard you. As the President of the Republic of South Africa, I will work with everyone to reach out and work with every political party and sector that is willing to contribute to finding solutions to the challenges our country faces as we transition to a new decade of freedom.
And just like President Ramaphosa, the military displayed their might, rededicated themselves to protecting the nation and its democracy. And not only through the military might, but resilience of the people, the South Africans have seemingly resolved to harness their strength and build a more prosperous country.
Cultures of resilient warriors.
From Pretoria, Musbahuddin Wahab, NTA News.
Well, current and former African heads of state and diplomats we hear were among many guests and dignitaries that attended the inauguration of Cyril Ramaphosa as South Africa's president. The newly inaugurated president hailed the beginning of a new era. Let's hear from Comfort Fashion.
Africa's heads of states and dignitaries from as far as Cuba gathered outside the Union buildings in Pretoria, seat of the South African government, to witness inauguration. The event was marked by grandeur and pomp as leaders from various countries came together to show their support for the newly re-elected leader.
30 years of forging forward, 30 years of embracing the light while dancing in the shadows of the past.
A ceremony full of the military pomp and pageantry began with interfaith prayers by Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish and traditional African religious leaders, reflecting the country's diversity. Military helicopters flew past in blazing sunshine, trailing South African flags to cheer from the audience. The newly inaugurated president pledged that this new multi-party government would work to improve basic living conditions for all citizens as he was sworn in for a second term in office.
I devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and all its people. So help me God.
Ramaphosa's African National Congress will be sharing power with 5 other parties after it was humbled in a May 29 election, losing its parliamentary majority for the first time in 30 years of democracy. He said the voters wanted everyone to have enough food, decent homes, clean water, affordable and uninterrupted electricity supply, well-maintained roads, good care for the sick and the elderly, quality schools and other basic services.
It is the beginning of a new era.
The ANC remains the largest party after the election, followed by the pro-business Democratic Alliance, a critique of the ANC's record in office, which has agreed to join the new government. Ramaphosa is expected to announce his cabinet within days of his inauguration as talks with coalition members continue. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
ECOWAS Commissioner for Human Development and Social Affairs, Professor Fatou Sosa, has presented 2 checks of $906,205 and $1 million to the Nigerian government through the Nigerian Red Cross Society and the World Food Programme. Now, this donation of $1.9 million marks the launch of ECOWAS humanitarian aid support to Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Fire erupts at a huge military ammunition depot in Chad's capital in N'Djamena, causing weapons to fire into the air. The blaze caused explosions of ammunition of all calibers. The report.
After a huge fire broke out at an ammunition depot in Chad, causing more explosions, an unknown number of people have been killed and injured, as stated by a senior government minister. There were explosions of ammunition of all calibers. A French official who requested anonymity said. It was also revealed that projectiles turned the sky red and black as they shot into the air at regular intervals and detonated. Foreign Minister Abdurrahman Kulumala said the blast happened at a military depot in the Guji area of the capital in N'Djamena. President Deby wrote on Facebook after midnight, "Peace to the souls of the victims, sincere condolences to the grieving families, and a speedy recovery to the wounded." The weapons depot in Guji is the country's main arsenal and is in the north of the city near the military headquarters, a French army base and the airport. Mr. Kulumala, the foreign minister and government spokesman, urged the public to remain calm after the explosions. The cause of the fire is not yet known and the president has promised an investigation. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
In other news, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has signed a strategic partnership treaty following their talks in Pyongyang on Wednesday. The agreement consists of mutual defense agreement with North Korea's Kim Jong-un, who offered his full support for Russian war in Ukraine. Here is Comfort Fashion again.
The pledge of a military cooperation was part of a strategic treaty signed during a summit in Pyongyang, where Putin was making his first visit in 24 years. The treaty also consists of a deal to help each other in the event of aggression against them.
Подписанный сегодня договор о всеобъемлющем.
It is really a breakthrough document, Putin said at a press conference in the North Korean capital, adding that it provided, among other things, the mutual assistance in case of aggression against one of the parties to the treaty. Putin received a red carpet welcome, including roses, waving crowds and ceremonial gunfire following his overnight arrival. They then attended a welcoming ceremony in Kim Il-sung Square, featuring a military band and a mass synchronized dancing, after which Putin invited his host to visit Moscow. The Russian president thanked Kim for inviting him to Pyongyang and said he hopes the next meeting will take place in Moscow. The two countries have been allies since North Korea's founding after World War II and have drawn even closer after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 isolated Putin on the global stage. The US and South Korea accused the North of supplying Russia with artillery ammunition in exchange for food and military aid. Both countries deny this, but Putin is in search of allies since the invasion of Ukraine turned him into a pariah in the West. After North Korea, Putin will visit long-term ally Vietnam, where he is expected to discuss trade. Putin has since departed North Korea after the heroic visit.
As part of efforts to implement the North-East Stabilization and Development Master Plan, Vice President Kashim Shettima has laid the foundation for the construction of the head office of the Commission in Maiduguri. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Vice President also performed the groundbreaking for the second phase of the 44.8 kilometers Jere-Tubol road network.
It is an eight-floor structure to provide adequate and conducive office spaces and other state-of-the-art facilities for smooth running of the Northeast Development Commission. The office will continue to roll out demand-driven human capital development initiatives for short, medium, and long-term socio-economic benefits of the region.
As we lay this foundation, we do so with a vision of a Northeast that is vibrant, resilient, and forward-looking. We do so imagining our contribution to building a nation where every child has access to quality education, where healthcare is accessible to all, where infrastructure supports thriving economies, and where peace and security are the bedrock of daily life.
And I want to urge each and every one of us to stand firm behind the NEDC and give it all the support it needs, so that we will see to the completion of all the projects and ensure that our people benefit from the projects that NEDC is embarking upon and that will embark upon.
There is a compelling need for the Commission to be always in consultative concurrence with the 6 state governments of the sub-region, especially on its priorities and in respect of the areas that need their inputs.
Another milestone project inaugurated by Vice President Kashim Shettima as part of the interventions by the NEDC is agricultural intervention towards boosting food production, processing, and food security. The distribution of the agricultural machineries, implements, inputs, and other processing equipment is across all the 18 senatorial districts in the region.
Their output, which is expected to increase the value of farmers' hard work and provide opportunities for local processing of some commodities in the Northeast.
At the end, there will be an interfacing committee between the state and the Commission for the equitable and effective distribution and monitoring of these items.
And I want to pray that from here, this foundation should be used to serve the purpose for which it is established.
Let us harness the power of collaboration, innovation, and inclusivity to build a future where every individual can thrive and contribute to the collective advancement of the zone.
The groundbreaking ceremony for the phase 2 of the Jerry Ball Road Networks performed by Kashim Shettima.
This is the groundbreaking of the phase 2 of the Jerry Ball 44.88 kilometer road, which passes through the famous rice-producing communities of Galamari, Dusuman, Ngom to Zabarmari and Kadamari to improve production and free movement, as well as to enhance security. From Maiduguri, Abraman Jibrila, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break. We're back. Please stay tuned.
.51 Go TV channel. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Good to have you. Stay with us. Detecting sickle cell carriers from infancy has now been pinpointed as a strategic quest in dealing with disease burden as countries unite to mark the 2024 World Sickle Cell Day, which is today. Oluseyi Adiagbo in this report examines progress in Nigeria's sickle cell disease management, challenges carriers face, and recommendations for its possible elimination in the country.
They are often referred to as warriors in Nigeria for waging war with this health challenge to survive. Carriers of sickle cell disease, SCD, who have adhered strictly to medical counsel, have proved that the condition isn't a death sentence.
But at our clinic, we have warriors who are above 55. We have some who are close to 60.
There are likely symptoms mothers should look out for, and Iyobosa Juliet Arono, a research nurse, highlights some of them.
There is something they call the spleen in the parts of the body, the left parts. So when it is enlarged, it is swollen, they can feel it as they are bathing the baby. It is directly below the rib. You see the child starts crying, the hands are swollen, the legs are swollen. It's called hands and foot syndrome.
Olariwaju Salau and Blessing Bedium are both 35 years. They share with me some of the challenges.
I don't normally hide that I'm a sickle cell patient, so I always tell them my checkup days. In some schools, the owner of the schools might say, okay, you can go. Some will say, no, not only you they sick, and when you are sick for some few days, they'll be telling you you're the one bringing down the school.
Well, growing up, we didn't have...
Salau, now a father of two, revealed a sharp contrast between growing up when access to qualified medical personnel was limited and the present.
We have people, doctors now, that actually know exactly what they're doing. They can really know how to treat you better. And then the advancement in the drug area, when we have other drugs now that you can use, like hydroxyurea, which has been helpful in the...
Since 2009, June 19 every year is now dedicated as a day to identify with these warriors. Experts now call for more sensitization to tame its spread.
People who are carrying carriers of the traits should not marry carriers too, so that they don't give birth to children with sickle cell disease. Another thing we can do is early detection. Screen these babies as soon as they are born. If they are sickle cell babies, enroll them into care.
Recognized as public health problem, sickle cell anemia in National Institutes of Health (NIH) document affects 20 to 25 million people globally, out of which about 15 million reside in Africa, and Nigeria is believed to be the most sickle cell endemic country, with 2 to 3% of the total population affected. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
One of the safest ways knowing your genotype, please do check. The Nigerian government, through its National Space Research and Development Agency, has signed a memorandum of understanding with Space Exploration and Research Agency, Delaware, USA, to jointly pursue human space flight capabilities for both exploration and exploitation purposes. By this move, all is now set to see the first Nigerian astronaut to be on human space flight soon. Justin Bemonye reports.
This momentous feat marks Nigeria's ambitious leap into the realm of space travel, aiming to join the League of Nations at the forefront of space technology and research. With this black pen, said to have traveled to space and back, being used here to ink the papers, it brings to the Nigeria's doorstep Space Exploration and Research Agency, SERA's human spaceflight program that provides the opportunity for everyday citizens from around the world to become astronauts and participate in space science. SERA has reserved 6 seats on an upcoming New Shepard flight. The U.S. agency says 6 individuals will become astronauts, and some will be their nation's first, as the case of Nigeria now.
According to the 25-year roadmap approved in 2005 for the implementation of the National Space Policy and Program, our first human space flight was scheduled for 2018. This means we are about 6 years behind schedule.
But this human space flight is coming as one of those aspects of our deep space exploration. Like my honorable minister has mentioned, there are so many spin-offs that comes from this adventure, and we believe there are so many areas of STEM research will be open for Nigerians.
Our view of space has just been dominated by national security interest by a few countries. And we think that the way forward is to actually open space up and think about it from a commercial perspective rather than a national security perspective. Of course, Nigeria may take its own interest in utilizing space technology for communications, for medicine, for the future of understanding agricultural meteorological data. But ultimately, what we're doing here is opening up access to space and helping Nigerians select their own astronaut to go to space.
An earlier collaboration between SERA and Blue Origin helped Victor Hespana, a 28-year-old civil engineer, to become the second Brazilian astronaut and a national hero. He flew to space on NS-21, Blue Origin's 5th crewed flight on June 4, 2022. Justin Bentley, NTA News.
Quite fascinating, right? Let's expand the discuss, and we have with us in the studio Director of Physical and Life Sciences, National Space Research and Development Agency, Dr. Ayatunji Benjamin Benro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Nice to be here.
Great, and we must commend NARCHDA for this huge feat. But tell us, what does this mean for our space research development?
This collaboration, which partnership was signed today, is very important and very momentous in our space program. The National Space Research and Development Agency space policy and program, which was approved in 2001, have 3 main cardinal objectives to be achieved. One is to build a Nigerian-made satellite on Nigerian soil. The second is to launch a Nigerian-made satellite on a Nigerian launch vehicle from a Nigerian soil. And the third one is to put a Nigerian in space. This, like in your report, the Honorable Minister said we're supposed to have done this in 2018 based on our roadmap. However, the space adventure is very, very expensive. So we couldn't achieve that. So this collaboration and this partnership with Sarah is giving us opportunity to do that, which we've not been able to do. And I must also add that it has no cost to Nigeria. Sarah is sponsoring this, and Sarah is doing this based on the recognition of Nigerians' feat in the space exploration and space research in Africa.
Oh, okay, and we hear all is now set for the first Nigerian astronaut to be on human space flight. So going by that, how optimistic should Nigeria be for space technology in the country?
Nigeria should be very, very optimistic. The first Nigerian astronaut will have one very soon. I must say, when the Department of Physical and Life Science was created about 3 years ago, which I headed in the National Space Research and Development Agency, one of the objectives given to us is that we should put man in space before 2030. And I can assure Nigerians that we are going to achieve that earlier than expected based on this partnership. Nigeria should be very, very optimistic. Nigeria, National Space Research and Development Agency, has trained a lot of people. In National Space Research and Development Agency today, we have over 350 people with PhD trained by Nigeria in different aspects of space science and technology. And they are ready to deploy their competency for the benefit of Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ayatunji Benjamin Benro, Director, Physical and Life Sciences, National Space Research and Development Agency. Well done to NASDAR. And at this point, I just wish I would have that privilege to explore the human space flight.
Thank you so much. The opportunity is open to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the weather forecast for tomorrow. That concludes the news. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is John Bamidele. Bye.
Is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, Go TV channel.
And to watch NTA International in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, use the following satellite parameters.
You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.